Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video, we're going to be going over updates with the 2022 WRX STI and the WRX, but specifically the STI because I think the WRX is a little less interesting, but we'll talk about both in today's video. This shouldn't be too terribly long of a video. There isn't much concrete news, but there's a little bit more that we know. So I wanted to follow up with you guys because I did promise that I would keep you guys up to date as I hear more and as we as a community hear more. And before we get too far into the video, if you want to see more WRX STI news or just general content about installs, how-tos, modifications surrounding my 2016 ProTune WRX, be sure to subscribe to the channel and look out for more dope WRX content. Okay, so what is new about the 2022 WRX and STI? Let's cover the WRX first because it's short and sweet. We don't know much about the engine for the WRX. We got to assume it's staying with the FA20 engine. What we do know, this is probably some bad news, is we've got a picture of what this thing looks like. And how do I know that? Well, renderings have been awful, but fortunately, we've seen one of the camouflage WRXs out there. Hopefully it's not the STI and hopefully it is the WRX, but there have been some images, and I'll throw them up on the screen now, of the WRX out in camo, which is very common when automakers are starting to test driving on the roads and all that stuff, and they don't want to release the exact look of the car, so they put this camo pattern on it basically. But from this image, it looks like there's nothing crazy happening to the exterior of the WRX, which is actually kind of disappointing, especially because the WRX in the camouflage doesn't look that great, honestly, in my opinion. I actually think it's a step in the wrong direction. I think this platform identified that they need to take the sporty sedan and take it a step further, because that's what the aftermarket community does. We all put front lips on, we all put side skirts on, we're all doing lots of exterior modding that we pretty much think, and I think all of us can agree, should have been done from the factory. And I think they're taking a step back from that. And I think it's maybe in an effort to attract more people that are looking for a sporty sedan, but I think that they're slowly going to lose their WRX Enthusiast platform, and maybe that's because they want to push them to the STI. I don't know yet, but it's unlikely that the STI is going to differ too far from the WRX, because they're going to share a lot of the same body structure, platform, etc. So that's our quick WRX news. Now, what do we know about the STI? Now, nothing about the STI has been firm, except some comments from Subaru. Now, this is actually where it's interesting. At a handful of different car shows and interviews, different Subaru representatives have made comments surrounding, we're gonna almost pack a punch. You know, there have been questions about the Golf R, the new Toyota, I can't remember if it's the Camry or the Corolla GR. It's one of the two. There's a bunch of different sporty sedans coming out now that are very much challenging and outperforming, in my opinion, the STI platform. The Golf R being the perfect example. Unless Subaru does something amazing with the STI, the Golf R is really going to eclipse what the STI is capable of. And then if you compare it to, you know, like the new Nissan Z, the 400Z that's coming out, wow, it's really behind when you think performance. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, they're not comparable, but Subaru's got to make sure that it's somewhat comparable, or anyone looking for speed is going to go to the 400Z or the Mustang GT, etc. So the STI needs to compete. And it's crazy to think that, you know, and this is true, the latest WRX is actually faster 0 to 60 than the STI. And those are, you know, relatively reliable 0 to 60 testing companies and standards. The WRX had a slightly faster 0 to 60. I don't want to deviate too much there. So Subaru has, you know, through many different interviews and different comments, we've basically understood that the STI is going to pack a punch. Now, what does this really mean? It can mean two things. One, they're going to make more power and more torque, and they're going to do what everyone's asked them to do. And it's going to be a lot, and we're going to see over 400 horsepower, and that'd be amazing. Is this likely? I'm not entirely sure. What it could mean, and this is not what people really are, well, yes, it's what people think, but they haven't put their finger on it. It might be that they're trying to open the platform up to be more aggressive in the tuning and aftermarket community for those that want it. And that might mean introducing the 2.4 liter engine. Now, if you look at any Subaru news and anyone that writes about WRXs and STIs, they've all concluded at this point that the 2.4 liter engine will be turbocharged and sitting in the engine bay of the 2022 STI. Now, I think it's been very unclear why they're saying that, and I'm hopefully answering that. I think that's about solving the aftermarket community. Now, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, because I think most of us would agree, hey, come out with the FA20 with better internals that don't need to be upgraded, that can hold 500-600 horsepower. Oh man, everyone's buying that STI. That's a given. But I think what they're really trying to do is get a bigger displacement engine that, can compete with some of the other cars that are making radical, crazy numbers with simple tuning. Just look at the Toyota Supra. If you were lucky enough to get one with a tunable ECU, my goodness, does that thing make crazy power with some not so aggressive tuning. So we're not exactly sure what Subaru is going to do. We know that they're going to deliver something in their eyes that will compete, because right now they are not competing with the rest of the world in what these cars need to do. And I've got to say, as somebody that's an enthusiast in the platform, it's a little disappointing, because I know that my WRX is starting to get outpaced by lots of other cars. Now, yes, I'm not in an STI. Yes, I'm not in the 2022 STI. But hopefully when I'm making the decision whether or not I'm going to buy the 2022 STI, I don't have to have the discussion with myself, wow, I need to spend another $8,000 in tuning. Wow, I need to do this. Wow, I need to do this just to compete, right? If the STI comes out and it's $45,000 and I've got to spend $6,000 to get it as fast as a Supra, what am I doing? I should just buy the Supra. So you guys see my point. I won't go too much more because nothing's firm. We've just had some comments that are maybe indicating a little bit here. One thing that I do think is interesting is most reports now, and most reporters and people in the news side of the automotive world are saying that we are actually going to see the WRX first and the STI will follow, which is definitely something that is different, because for a long time it's basically been said, well, for the last 12 months, people have been saying that the STI is actually going to come out first. So I don't know whether this is true, but this is exciting, and a lot of people are saying that the new next generation WRX will be in front of us for us to view, possibly sometime this year, towards the end of the year, which would be incredibly exciting. And normally we would already basically be seeing it, but because of COVID and all these shortages and everything that's happening, it's just not a guarantee that we're going to see it yet. So it is exciting to hear that we could potentially see stuff this year. I'm excited. Definitely be looking at the news, definitely be understanding when things are coming out, because I think when this thing comes out, there's going to be a short period of time that you can pre-order them. I know that sounds silly, but I do think they're going to artificially, and whether it's artificial or not, there's going to be a shortage of these things for a period of time. I also think it's the conundrum of, when do people sell this generation WRX? Because when that new gen comes out, there's going to be a big dip in value for this gen. So something to think about. I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel if you want to hear more about what's happening. Thanks for watching.